Okay, we had learned that the story, when the narrator was telling about it, when the arrows were shot to him, he was groaning with a grief and pain. Okay, he was crying it because of the pain. And I thought it would be prudent to lie still till night. He was telling that I can act like a dead person here till night. Be quiet. When the people observed, I was quiet. They shot no more arrows at me. So, when the people looked at me, they saw very quiet. And what did they do? They stopped shooting the arrows. And I heard a noise, big noise. I knew their numbers were increased. That means more and more people were approaching to him. I saw a stage being erected. That means they were making a stage, okay, about a foot and a half from the ground. It was so high, and just like a ladder they can use, capable of holding 4 of the inhabitants. That means 1, 2, 3, 4 persons height, and with 2 or 3 ladders to mount it. And also they kept 2 or 3 ladders. Okay. From there, one of them, who seemed to be one of their leaders, made me a long speech, of which I understood nothing. So the leader gave a big speech. But the people, those who were surrounded him, they might have understood, because the leader spoke in their own language. But the narrator could not be able to understand that language. So, only one thing he might have noticed, within a few seconds, what did they do? Then about 50 of the little people came and they cut the strings from his body, fastened the left side of my head. The ladder tried to reassure me that I would not be brought to harm if I listened to them. And also, the leader gave a speech. If this man is not came to make any trouble to us, then we don't need to give him any punishment. So, what did they do? They loosened all his ropes around his body, and the leader, after that, the leader came down from the stage and commanded that several ladders should be brought to his sides, on which above 100 of tiny people mounted and walked towards his mouth. Okay, so hundreds of small people, or tiny people means the shortened people, they climbed towards his mouth. And they were carrying what? Baskets full of meat, which had been provided and sent to me by the king's order. Or the leader might have ordered these short people to give him food. Okay. So, they brought him food, and I ate them by 2 or 3 at a mouthful. He said he was so hungry, so he ate the food very fast. And look, 3 loaves at a time. Okay. And they went on bringing me food. Again and again they were bringing the food to him. And astonished at my appetite, that means according to my hunger, I then made another sign that I wanted to drink. So, the narrator showed a sign he was so thirsty. So, what did they do? They knew that a small quantity of water could not be sufficient for him. Okay. So, what did they do? They carried a huge pot of milk and then rolled it towards his hand. I drank it in one gulp. That means when we are thirsty, when we will take a bottle of water, we used to keep our mouth full. Okay, so he also telling that in the same manner he drank that milk. And then immediately they brought another pot. They brought me a second pot, which I drank it in the same manner and made signs more. But they had none to give me. I had drunk all the milk in the land. And after this generous meal, my eyes felt heavy with a sleep. That was my first day in Lilliput. Okay, after this generous meal, generous means lavish food or plenty food. What happened? He was so tired and he felt asleep. This is the day was a strange day for him, and it was a important thing in the Lilliput on that day. That was my first day in Lilliput, he was telling. It was a great experience for him. Okay, and this story is written by whom I had told? Jonathan Swift. Okay, who was he? He was an Anglo-Irish author. And Gulliver's Travels is his most famous work. He is known for his satirical novels such as A Tale of a Tub and A Modest Proposal, which criticized the society of his time. Swift's works are initially published under a variety of pseudonyms such as Lemuel, Gulliver and Isaac Bickerstaff. Okay, now again you just see this story from the beginning. You can easily understand that this lesson is very simple. Only thing, the Gulliver was having a voyage with his companions, and on the way they had a great or a strong wind and it collapsed their journey, and their ship was wrecked and his companion were lost, and the narrator was all alone, and he came to a seashore, and there at first he could not be able to find any human being, but after a few hours he saw they came and tied him with the ropes, and many people were around him and they were shouting and trying to punish him, but he was not be able to do anything. At last their leader came and escaped the Gauliers from that spot and gave him food, and he was so happy at the end, and I hope he might have stayed some more days there in the same island. That's why he might have wrote this story even. I hope you all might have enjoyed the story. Read again the story and read the new words and learn the meanings of it and do the question answers. All this. Have a nice day.